From the Pep Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. Time magazine is reporting that as the reality of President-elect Donald Trump's victory begins to settle, LGBTQ plus rights groups and individuals are grappling with the realities of what that means, especially now that he has a GOP-majority Senate to back him on his policies. Throughout his campaign, Trump showcased an anti-trans rhetoric across his speeches, ads, and written platform policies. One of his advertisements stated that his Democratic opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, is for they, them, not you. Republicans spent nearly $215 million on anti-trans ads this election cycle, according to data released by Ad Impact. Trump's inflammatory words against LGBTQ plus Americans, most notably aimed at trans persons, is not new. In his first term as president, Trump put forth several policies that attempted to repeal protections for LGBTQ plus Americans. Now that he has won a second term, LGBTQ plus Americans are wondering what policies are most likely to affect their rights once he returns to the White House in January. Three key ways in which the administration will work to weaken or eliminate LGBTQ plus protections include a return of the ban on transgender people in the military, a ban on gender-affirming care to transgender and gender non-conforming youth, and a dismantling of Biden administration changes to Title IX protections for youth in schools, education standards, and identification protections. During the first Trump administration, hospitals were granted permission from the Department of Health and Human Services to deny care to patients who are part of the LGBTQ plus community if providing said care violated the religious rights of the care provider. These policy changes are broad and cover the temperament of his entire term in office. What does he claim to do on day one? According to Just the News, President-elect Donald Trump made a multitude of day one promises throughout the campaign to begin work on an array of issues, setting himself up for an extremely busy first day back in office. Many of his promises involve reinstating past executive orders that the Biden administration rescinded, and some entail advancing initiatives such as energy production. Others involve planning for a year-long anniversary celebration for the nation's 250th anniversary. Trump made headlines late last year during a Fox News forum with moderator Sean Hannity, during which he promised that he would not abuse power or act as a dictator, except for day one. A signature issue for Trump, the removal of illegal immigrants from the U.S., is expected to take priority. U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported that 10 million immigrant encounters under the Biden administration. Media outlets regularly cited an 11 million illegal immigrant figure prior to Trump's first term, and that the current number of immigrants who lack documents in the U.S. may exceed 20 million. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program of criminals in American history, Trump declared during a recent rally in Reading, PA. We're going to get them out, he said. He further cited Operation Wetback, a mass deportation effort during the presidency of Dwight Eisenhower that removed millions of undocumented workers during the 1950s. That effort had the cooperation of the Mexican government, though it remains unclear whether Trump will be able to secure that nation's help this time. On the campaign trail, Trump repeatedly tackled transgender issues and critical race theory, promising to end biological men from competing in women's sports and to eliminate divisive social justice practices in schools and other institutions. Trump has vowed to remove what he calls critical race theory from K through 12 schools, even though that is a graduate-level law degree course. He further vowed to end the weaponization of federal agencies for political purposes to prevent them from targeting conservative-leaning groups. The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled, he said, so that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives, Christians, and the left's political enemies, he went on to say. So what is the stand of the Pennsylvania Equality Project? The next 4 years are going to be quite difficult and will seem defeating. Far too many questions remain open, such as, will practitioners of conversion therapy be allowed to continue their torture of LGBTQ plus youth? Are marriage rights for same-sex couples in danger of being rolled back? Will Trump appoint 1 or 2 more Supreme Court justices? Will the federal courts offer any support for the LGBTQ plus community? Our answers are yes. Likely, conversion therapy will be allowed to continue. And yes, marriage rights for same-sex couples are in danger of being rolled back. And possibly, will Trump appoint 1 or 2 more Supreme Court justices? And frankly, no, federal courts will likely offer no support for the LGBTQ plus community moving forward. How should the LGBTQ plus community respond? We are encouraging groups of people to gather in their local communities at coffee shops and discuss issues impacting their local area. Then report back to the Pennsylvania Equality Project a brief synopsis of what was discussed. In this way, one centralized host can share information vital to other communities across Pennsylvania. The coffee gatherings are intended to boost the morale of the LGBTQ plus community and continue to encourage us to advocate against the incoming administration. We cannot be complacent while our rights and lives are on the line. That's today's news at this hour. For further information, check out the Pennsylvania Equality Project website at paequality.com. Now it's time for more music on PEP Radio.